Broomy, you're finally on the dyno with the RX7. Now, how long do you reckon before you blow the thing up?
Well, batting at a 50% strike rate so far with my own rotaries on dyno, so hopefully this one goes well and we can lift that average. But yeah, day's finally here. Time to strap it to the dyno like it is here at G-Force Race Solutions and get boosting.
As someone who films a lot of cars on the dynos, by far rotaries are the worst in terms of just suffocating you and noise. Nothing comes close. I don't care what anyone says, rotaries are by far the worst. And Broomy, you've at least given us some reprieve here with your custom exhaust system. Now you'll be running this at the track, I assume.
I know everyone will complain here today if I didn't bring some kind of setup to push as much of the fumes back there as we can. So yeah, we've got this contraption here just to get some of the smoke out and methanol out and hopefully save our eyes and ears and brains. But yeah, very smoky, very loud, but that's the brakes. That's what we're going to deal with. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
You got moulds by 1 inch. So how are we supposed to get you out when you're on fire?
No, just burn. Just get that fire extinguisher right there.
You got your firebomb connected?
Yep.
So we'll get to use that on the second pull.
And NASCAR would be easy to get in with this thing. I just need to drop the windows and get in NASCAR style.
I have this as well.
Yep. You're not even in the car. Have you ever filmed methanol? Has anyone who's filmed methanol will have all this on the ready? I actually need a pair of goggles. Within 200 meters of this thing, stinks. I forgot to bring one. Of all the cars, I forget to bring it for this.
Right, so it's the first dyno pull, 16 pound of boost, fairly rich in the top end, made 473 horsepower at the rears on like, yeah, 15, 16 pound of boost. Yeah, it just creeps a little bit on the boost in the top end of that, but a good start, definitely on its way. So, all right, next time, let's get another crack on about 20 PSI now and we'll see how we go. I am now currently doing my tune reconnaissance and it is unbelievably rich. You can see the power there on the screen. We made like 477 horsepower. I think the previous, and that's on I think 18 and 19 pound, but it started to break up in the top end. The previous pull was 400, I think it made 470 horsepower last run or something.
Yeah, 473 it made.
Yeah, so it made 473 last run, made 477 that run, but you can see like it just, I can't remember if I let off the throttle there or if it just started to
So you picked up 4 horsepower with 4 PSI. That's good gains.
It's going really well, yeah. So it's just so incredibly rich because we're getting that baseline. Because I was able to dial in the tune pretty good on the trans brake, but that's to about like 6,500 RPM. Everything over that, which is where we're.
What are you going to turn this to? What are you turning this to now? You're not sure.
About 9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
9.5. My mate had a 12A Bridgeport in the day. He used to rep it to 13.5. It's like, yeah, champ.
That's like people with HQs that used to like dominate everything. So basically, I'm going through the data here. Yeah, 5,500 RPM, 11 PSI. We've got 4.1 air fuel ratio, but our target's actually 4.6. So yeah, I've got to significantly lean up the tune up there. But right up the top here, you see it starts getting a bit messy there, and that's just because it was so ridiculously rich there that even the boost started falling off in that too because of it. So. Yeah, got to basically do that now. You can see the O2 curve here. It's pretty much on spot, and then all of a sudden it just falls right off, and that's yeah, with methanol carb, that's horsepower there. So if we were making like 40 pound of boost, that air fuel ratio might be all right, but there's not enough air at the moment to warrant having that much fuel. So just got to go through it and go through and then, yeah, tidy up all the cells, and then we might do another pull on this same boost, and yeah, then we'll see. So, and then yeah, I'm only going up in like 5 psi increments. There's no use doing it 15 psi. Then
Where's the
17 and
Puerto
18
Rico
and
85 psi
yeah.
tune, Broomy?
So very nervous. I'd like to race this car without having to pull the engine out, but whatever happens, happens. I mean, I'm happy to put
He
in.
says that and he owns a rotary.
I'm happy to put in whatever boost it needs, sort of the power. I don't really have a power figure in mind. It'll just be
just
like
to tune it.
Yeah, it'll be put in the boost, make sure that everything, EGT, spark plugs, air fuel ratios where I need it to be, and then whatever that power is, take it to the racetrack, and that's where it really matters. So
Mazda's never really showed that much power with a converter behind them.
yeah, they got obviously, yeah, with the converter setup and that, they're that they always, you'll see a lot of people when they dyno cars, businesses and that, especially with rotaries, they never show
Power figures.
the power figures because the power figures are so underwhelming, and then they go to the racetrack and they prove how great their combination is, which is why you often see people with automatic rotaries not showing power figures, because they can be pretty underwhelming.
And that last run sounded a lot nicer in the top end.
Yeah, it was a little bit lean, but I stayed in it.
Hey?
It was a little bit lean, but I stayed in it. So
It's tuned.
Yeah. So, yeah, before it was like 3.5 air fuel ratio on the top end. That was more like 4.1. So the target's meant to be 3.8.
Did you go through a whole tank?
Probably went through, I don't know, maybe 15 litres or something, close to it. I think we've done
About 6.
5 or 6 pulls,
yeah.
yeah, I think. That is
Can't get enough of that brat. So it's doing all right, Broomy. Travelling all right.
it's hot work, that's for sure. But yeah, it made like 720 horsepower at the rears on like 32 pounder boost, I think. So it's the tune-up's sort of close enough in the window that it's like pretty safe in that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, if this thing had a manual in it, it'd probably make like 850 plus or something. So it's really hard to gauge how much power you're making. The power figure sort of doesn't matter again. So I'm going to put a little bit more boost into it now. I've just changed the plugs because I want, hopefully it's a nice clean pull, and then I can sort of read the plugs, but you can see the power's dropping off at the end. It is a little bit rich there, but I'm noticing this has got a pretty small rear housing too, so it doesn't have one of like there's 4 size rear housings basically.
For a Mazda it does.
Yeah, so this is like 1.08.
I think there's like, I thought you had a 132 in it.
No, there's like there's 4 size of housings in the GDX 47 range, and this is the second one basically. So there's 2 larger ones. So if we had like one of the bigger ones, we'd probably see us hold the power and maybe keep on making the power higher. But all that just means is that we just don't turn it as hard. There's no reason to turn it to like 9,500 RPM if it's not making as much power. So these will be the last pulls now, so I'll do a pull and hopefully it's clean, and then I'm going to get out straight away and I'll probably read the plugs and have a look at it, and then we'll see if it's close enough, and that'll basically be it. So I think maybe we end up at maybe 750 horsepower at the rears, which before I started today was like, that's sort of where I want to be. I think that kind of horsepower is enough maybe to run mid-8s or lower easily. So yeah, I don't want to extremely blow it up, but I will once I get to the racetrack. I don't care. So it's just basically what this has done now by putting in a tune of 20, 24, 28, 30, 32, 33 sort of, and then like 35 or the 36 pounder boost. It's building a curve in the tune-up, and then I can easily now, even at home, I can build a tune for like 40, 45, whatever pounder boost. So
what you're saying is read the plugs and then 60.
One more rip, and then, well, I could. I mean, there's no reason why you can't put like 45 pound in it, but the only reason is it could blow up. So.
This guy looks like he's run a marathon.
I need to be about 4 foot shorter. Whew. It's in one piece.
It was pretty clean. That was 36 PSI. There was one that was a bit lean at about 7 grand, and then it just went straight through that, went back to 3.5. So.
What are you turning that to?
That was to the limiter basically, 30, 90, 93, 9500 RPM sort of thing. So, but you can see on this pull, like it was clean. It was like 3.4 air fuel, and I think I got offered at 9.3, but it was still climbing.
Yeah.
So theoretically, like if it was clean and like you revved it to 10 grand even, it's going to make like, 780 more, whatever. So, but yeah, everyone thinks like you need 1,000 horsepower to run a number. I think we'll go to the track soon and show just what not 1,000 horsepower can actually do at the racetrack with a properly sorted torque converter and engine and tune-up setup. So I think people will be pretty surprised. When it's really rich like this, it drops off to like 33 pounds, sorry man. And it's, you can see the difference in like, and not even a lot of fuel. Like I'm talking like 3.2 air fuel ratio versus 3.5 is the difference between like some of these ones.
Going bananas.
Yeah.
Just
3.2 air fuel.
In the back end, so if you're racing 8th mile, you tune it to like about 3.5. In the back end of the track, you dump more fuel in to control EGT, because here we're ripping for like 4 seconds. At there, you're going out for like 8.5. In that back 4.5 seconds, heat just keeps on building and building and building. That's when you start melting stuff.
Do you know much about nitromethane? Because I hear that tune-up's like 1 to 1.
Really?
Is that true?
Depends on the nitro mix. My goal was to get to like 750 horsepower at the rears.
Done that.
Yeah, and it was to be about 35 hopefully it was going to be around, only need 35 PSI to do it, which is basically on that. So, but now I've got data like drive shaft data and stuff like that, so I'll be able to actually see what the efficiency of the converter is, if it's changing, like the more boost we put into it and stuff. The best part about doing on the dyno, sorry Drew, is we leaked a shitload of oil from the diff because I forgot to put the diff breather hose, but I mean, we could have dumped all that down the entire racetrack. We had one fitting vibrate loose.
You would not have been a popular man.
No way, no way. So we had one little fitting vibrate loose and had a little fuel leak, but now I know, because you don't want to be cleaning up like thick diff oil with this, because you'd have to throw out the whole mop on that. I bought a whole box of rags because I own a rotary and I know what it's like, so I'll be using the rags on the diff before you get this out, because
I see it's some other dynos.
thick.
It's just the bucket of sand, and it's just the constant brooming the
Yeah,
sand.
exactly. You can dump that kitty litter down and stuff and shovel it up, but overall, yeah, it's successful. We've got a tune-up in it that's right now. it was funny on the road ride over here, obviously the car's bouncing around and the suspension's like almost dropped an inch sort of thing almost. So now at least I know, yeah, I'll go and raise the rear up again, and because it's still in one piece, I've got some little 1% things to do, but pretty sure in the next couple of weeks we'll be at Heathcote Park giving it a shakedown. So I'm not sure I'll do 767 horsepower on my first pass, but I mean, I might. Only live once. I might literally only live once, but yeah, I think the first few times we'll go out, we'll do some 330 foot testing, then to the 8th mile, and then once everything is absolutely on song, because we've got a lot of rear end stuff to set up now. The engine's only one part of this car. This has got a full 4-link and coilovers and everything. So once we get that part ripping to the front of the track, that's when go all noise to the rear end track. I think that about does us for today. First of all, big thanks to GeForce Race Solutions for use of their dyno. We absolutely smoked the place out, and they haven't sent us the invoice yet, so we'll wait to see what the bill is for ruining their entire day.
Broomy, you've just made the power of a stock bottom in 2J. Street car.
2K Barra makes this in its sleep, but like I said, I mean, this car with me in it weighs about 2,600 pounds. So 2,600 pounds and 767 horsepower through the auto. I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to run a pretty decent number. 626 probably weighed about the same as this, and I think we made about 500 horsepower at the rears. To give you an idea, that car went 147 mile an hour, 9.4, misfiring its head off sort of thing. So this thing's making a heap more power. It's a lot slipperier through the air. And yeah, hopefully the whole package overall does us much better at the racetrack.
It's actually been a pretty a challenging time the last, 2 years this thing's been in the build, essentially, because of Megatron has taken over everyone's life. Finally, actually, well, I don't want to say the L word, but we've probably got a window of about a week to get this to the track.
We better not. I don't. Surely this is essential. So racing is essential. Sort of
essential
thing.
services.
Yeah, I mean, my main thing here is I've also improved my personal rotary car ratio on the dyno to 66.7% success rate now. So slowly creeping up there after a not so good episode once early days with the 626 when we had an injector failure, but we've left those days behind us, and 767 horsepower is yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
To be honest, most I film a lot of Mazdas, but not many have autos. So I'm keen to see how it equates to the track. But a lot of people put autos behind rotaries now, and they work really well.
Yeah.
So this has all the right gear to run quick. Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting 2022. Make sure you don't miss any of the build by liking and subscribing to the channel.
I thought rotaries were the unreliable one. Why is this one up on jack stands?
Oh, this one runs. It just doesn't drive very well.